Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Cryptocurrency Scams Targeting Delaware. I'd like to introduce you to John Bell. John Bell has a 10-year history with Better Business Bureau working to track fraud and scams targeting Delaware. The BBB works with local law enforcement and state agencies as well as with local banks and financial organizations to identify threats and areas where Delawareans are vulnerable. John does frequent outreach for businesses and public, sharing local and international data geared towards helping reducing victimization and losses. John?
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the introduction. I am grateful to be here today to talk about cryptocurrency scams. So what I hope happens during the presentation is that this isn't all new for you, but I never quite know the audience, and with Secure Delaware attracting such a great and diverse group, I am curious, just a quick show of hands, people in the audience that own and feel very comfortable with cryptocurrency as a subject. They're like, hey, I know cryptocurrency pretty well, but I want to know about the scams. What about people, on the other hand, that are like, I have heard of cryptocurrency, and that is about all I know about it? And then I'm going to assume that everybody else is in the middle. So for you experts out there, I hope that there are still some nuggets that you're going to be able to take away. For everybody who's new, I am going to do a real quick go through of what we're talking about here when we talk about cryptocurrency. But first, I want to give you guys an overview of the size of the problem. So this is according to the FTC. There is no 2022 data out exactly yet, but what we've found is that Delaware stinks. We are regularly right at the top of the list you do not want to be at the top of, and it is the worst states in the nation as far as reports of fraud and scam victimization. And that bottom bullet point, 41% of younger consumers are the ones actually losing money. It's amazing and interesting when we do these presentations and outreach, because when we ask people, paint a picture of your fraud and scam victim, right? Whoever that might be, whatever they might look like. We did international research at BBB, and what we found was, according to the popular opinion, the quintessential victim of fraud and scam was an old, stupid woman who was not very well educated about financial matters. And ironically, what we found is that everybody's a victim, right? There's no age, there's no gender, there's no demographic, doesn't matter what your background or sexual preference is. The scammers are just after your money in an overwhelming amount of the times. But different people fall for different scams, and it's important, I think, to make sure people understand, just to get their arms around the size and scope of the issue, especially in Delaware, because people that are losing money are not always who you might think. And when it comes to cryptocurrency scams, we see it runs the gamut. Now, it is not usually older consumers, which, by the way, is how they prefer to be talked about. You don't want to talk about old people. Nobody self-identifies with senior citizen or old person, but older consumers usually works out okay. And older consumers generally are not falling for cryptocurrency scams. Who is? Adults, kids, people that are at what should be the height of their game, if you will. They are most able to deal with the technology of their day. They are most invested in their own futures, and they're autonomous, right? They are very actively involved in their life. So cryptocurrency is a big problem because of stories like this. So last year, Dogecoin millionaire, 11.7 million. In Sotheby's is like a real auction house. I don't know much about auctions, but Sotheby's is a thing. So like you're making millions selling your NFTs in a very real thing. Hey, El Salvador, there's a whole nation. It's like Bitcoin's okay, guys. For whatever you want to use it for, you can do it in El Salvador. People are making money hand over fist. And these are all stories from last year, because those of you that may follow the news know that there was a tremendous cliff that crypto fell off earlier this year. But what that means to a lot of people is that it's a bear market, and that's a great time to buy. So we're still seeing a tremendous number of scams, but I want to go ahead and just showcase a little bit of what we're talking about as far as why this is an issue, because people do make money with cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is real. Well, love it, hate it, feel about it the way you want. At the end of the day, it is a thing, and it is a very real part of some people's investment portfolio. But guess what? Scammers follow the headlines too. And this, I'm gonna just look at that. Look at that. Cryptocurrency, number one by the numbers, method of payment preferred by the scammers, local to you. So, your friendly neighborhood scammer, yeah, he'll still take a gift card payment if he can get it, right? That's fine. He'll take a stolen credit card. I'm all right with that. Wire transfer, yes, but eclipsing all of those, payments through cryptocurrency. And so what you're going to see here today in the stories I'm going to tell is that cryptocurrency scam, I can't do air quotes because I got my hands full, but cryptocurrency scams usually involve more than just cryptocurrency, right? Cryptocurrency is a part of it, but the scams and the way they operate is not always specific or unique to the fact that cryptocurrency was involved. It's just so darn convenient for the scammers. So 728 million, right? And this is just data the FTC had through the middle of the year. We've done a lot of research, the FTC, the BBB, about the number and size of the actual problem. Anybody here ever been targeted by a scam? All right. Anybody here ever reported a scam? All right. Not every hand from the first one. And what we find from the research is that there is an incredible difference between the number of people that are targeted, even that lose money, and the reports. Cryptocurrency, the challenges with it is that it's not very well known, right? Especially last year when it was going up and up and up and everything was hunky-dory and rosy, a lot of new investors, a lot of people coming in that scammers were able to fleece. But now it's a bear market and people are like, man, I could really get it on the ground floor because Bitcoin's 20,000 right now, but man, 6 months ago it was 70,000, 79,000. I don't know about you guys, but I would much rather buy it 20,000 and see it go to 70 than buy it 70 and see it go to 20. So if you're a believer in cryptocurrency, and if you're a believer that this is an investment opportunity, then this is a good time to buy. But cryptocurrency is decentralized currency, and we're gonna go through that in a second. And what that means is no one has got your back, right? If you send your cryptocurrency to scammers, you can't call Mr. Bitcoin and get him on the phone and say, Mr. Bitcoin, I need some help. There's no customer service line. There's no way to get any assistance because it's decentralized. It's designed that way. Irreversible transactions, scammers know that. So remember I said earlier, 728 million is the reported size of the problem. Well, unfortunately, according to the research we've done, that number is a whopping 4.5 or 4.8% of the actual number of victims, according to the FTC and according to independent research that's been done. So, we're talking about a problem that's 20 times bigger than even these already very, very big numbers. And I want to make sure that everybody has a chance. Thank you for the laugh. I appreciate that. Everybody has a chance to understand what we're talking about. So we're going to go through some specific scams here in Delaware. Delaware victims is happening right here, I promise you. But first, I want to do that 5 minutes of what are we talking about again? For the bulk of you that were brave enough to show your hands about, wait, I'm trying to learn more about this cryptocurrency stuff. So cryptocurrency, what is it? Basically, it is electronic money. Right? It is a digital currency. It is decentralized, which means it is not, there is no, United Bank of Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum or Dogecoin or any of the various coins you might hear about all exist as digital money. And listen, look, just like real money, it is worth what people believe it is worth, right? People think that a fiat currency like the US dollar is fantastic. But if I've got a wallet full of $100 bills and I walk into a store that's credit only, I can't do anything with them. Now, again, you're probably just going to go to another store here in the US, but the point is, the value of currency is dictated by what people are willing to trade you for it. And with an established currency, it's backed by a government, you can feel pretty good that your money will spend. Cryptocurrency has no such backing. It exists because of the power of math, and it exists on a distributed network so that there is no one person who's in charge of what happens to cryptocurrency. But it is a really neat system. And if you look at the math and you look at the blockchain, what it does is a really good job of tracking assets and having a public ledger where you can see what coins are going where. And that makes people feel pretty good about it. But it's all still kind of anonymous. NFTs. Anybody know about NFTs? Show of hands, anybody knows what an NFT is? We'll start there. Anybody own NFTs? Down there. I won't pick on anybody to ask, but in my opinion, NFTs are the equivalent of this. People spend a lot of money to collect collectibles. NFTs are no different, except they're digital. But because of the magic of blockchain, the ownership is ironclad. You can see through the public ledger who owns what NFTs. They're a digital representation of something. Now, a cynic might say all you're buying with an NFT is code, and what that code represents could change tomorrow. But at the end of the day, NFTs are basically digital collectibles. They could be art, they could be the equivalent of garbage pail kids or comic books. Whatever it is that people are interested in, they have the ability to buy them digitally and have them tracked in a public ledger so that everybody knows that they own them. And that carries property rights, right? If you own an NFT, that is your property. You have the rights to it. And so a lot of people are very excited to get digital representations of artwork from their favorite artist, hoping that it will accumulate in value, or hoping that it's something that they can show off or feel good about owning for whatever reason it is they want to own it. But you can buy and sell them, and there are marketplaces where you can do it. And a lot of people feel like, just like the folks that collect comic books, maybe this is going to be worth 50 times more tomorrow than it's worth today. So everybody always asks me, hey, come on, cryptocurrency is a scam, right? There's nothing there. You're buying air, right? You've got numbers on a screen. They don't mean anything. It's a scam. It's a Ponzi scheme because the only value comes from other people buying that coin so that when you sell it, you get their money. I'm not here to weigh in philosophical on whether it is or is not something that people should invest in. Oh, I'm sorry, invest is probably not the right word. Whether it's something or something people should not get involved with. Because again, a lot of people have made very real money doing it. But you need to understand what it is and what it isn't. And when you talk about is it a scam, it is not. Because no one is trying to trick you into thinking cryptocurrency is anything other than what it is. If you believe that that's air, fine. Nobody's trying to tell you it's not air. But they are trying to tell you that your Bitcoin's worth $20,000 because I will give you $20,000 for your Bitcoin. And as long as that exchange is stable, then it is not a scam because nobody's trying to trick you. So, okay, cool. Let's get into one of the scams we've seen, and one of the earliest ones that got me interested in, like, wait a minute, cryptocurrency scams in Delaware. Anybody ever heard of Skycoin? I'm looking at you over here. No, Skycoin? All right. So, Skycoin dates to 2012, which means in the terms of cryptocurrency, it is old AF, and it was around forever, right? Cryptocurrency didn't really become mainstream until years after that. So we get a report in 2018, actually the report came in at the beginning of 2019, but in the end of 2018, a guy in Delaware City invested in Skycoin through an exchange called C2CX. And he said, hey, I got a problem because these guys, these yahoos, they took my money, but I can't get my money back, right? I put $10,000 into Skycoin. And I said, man, that's weird. What is Skycoin? Like, I've heard of Bitcoin, right? Like, what is Skycoin? I don't have time to go through the incredible story of Skycoin except to tell you that basically it was the product of someone's imagination. And they said, man, this could be the future of the internet. I could create a distributed network similar to Bitcoin, but better than Bitcoin. It could have the ability to process faster transactions, lower transaction fees, and it could really be a solution for so many people that want to stay anonymous, but also cut out the banks. And hype started to build around this future of the internet. They minted the coins, which you'll know is a bad idea. They pre-minted the coins, which meant the coins were already mined. All right, but they were still going to trade them, and they were going to pay people in them to be able to facilitate this global network. Again, hype. People heard about it. It was flooded over Reddit, over Twitter. You could find it on the private Telegram pages. It was an incredibly, incredibly hot topic because it was the early days of cryptocurrency, and yet people were seeing cryptocurrencies start to do some pretty interesting things. So, people heard about Skycoin. People invested in Skycoin, and the way to go ahead and get in Skycoin to be a miner, even though the coins were pre-mined, was to buy a $10,000 rig. And you would get the rig, and you would go ahead and you would start being one of the nodes on the network. You would help create the distributed network for Skycoin. You'd get on the ground floor. And we'll pay you in Skycoin to work that node. So we'll send you the equipment, $10,000. You'll go ahead and you'll get onto our network. And then every month, just because we'll be using that rig you own, we'll be using it to process transactions, which are incredibly fast, with super low fees, you're gonna make $10,000 to $40,000 a month. Payable in Skycoin, of course, but Skycoin's got a pretty good value. It's $50 a coin, $55 a coin. Well, this guy said, well, I got in, and I don't know what's going on because now I can't get my money out. And that's when the house of cards fell down. And as it turns out, the people behind Skycoin wasn't actually creating a distributed network. It ran off of one server. One server. I know, that's it. Skycoin ran through one server in Shanghai. And that's how the transactions were so fast. Man, they were fast. Amazing. I've never seen a distributed network that fast. But this guy bought in based on hype. He bought in based on hype. Everything collapsed. Did he ever get his rig? No, although some people did. And I think the computer parts that went into that graphics processor were worth about $600. And no, nobody made any money off of it. So it all fell down. He lost his money, never got it back, reported to BBB, and I said, man, maybe we should start paying attention to this. This is interesting. In the news today, maybe yesterday, anybody see what happened with Kim Kardashian? Anybody? Yep. So, hype. She was fined $1 million because she publicized a coin, right? This is Matt Damon on the Super Bowl ad, but this is Kim Kardashian. I'll do much with the Kardashians. I thought they were villains on Star Trek, but the point is, she got fined $1 million because she publicized through her social channels, this is a coin you might want to consider buying. Now, she put hashtag ad in amongst all the other hashtags, but that's not enough. And the SEC fined her $1 million because people are getting wise to the power of hype. FOMO, by the way, stands for fear of missing out, and it's real. When I knew that I was going to do this presentation, and it was going to be about some of the scams we've seen, I thought, you know what, I should probably do a little bit more with cryptocurrency just to make sure that I'm up on my game. So 6 months, 7 months ago, I started really paying attention to cryptocurrency, bought a few altcoins that I wouldn't normally get, and watched it. And what I found was that the internet was full of experts that had mathematical certainty and equations about what was going to happen after the Cardano hard fork, the Vassal hard fork was going to happen, after the Ethereum merge was going to happen. People had, well, if it breaks this resistance level, then you're going to see it go to the moon. And I was like, oh my God, look at these things. I am going to be a crypto millionaire. I'm a reasonably smart person. But I was like, oh my God, look at these experts. There's math. They're proving it with math. And then I realized what these experts were doing was the equivalent of me saying, now if you bet on black and it hits black, you're going to win a lot of money at the casino. But if it ends up on the number 25, you don't necessarily lose because 25 is also black. So, or is red. But if it hits 25, you'll win money on 25 even though you didn't bet on black. So if it does land on black, you can win this way. But if it doesn't, you don't necessarily. Look, there are people out there that publish gambling handbooks. And in my esteemed opinion, any expert on the internet that talks about what cryptocurrency is going to do is promising you how to beat the casino. Right? It is supply and demand, and I love math. That's not true. I love that math exists, but I don't believe that math can predict anything. And that's why you can't call cryptocurrency an investment. That's why it's super dangerous to talk about investing in cryptocurrency. One, because suddenly then it's a security, right? And you know that would be regulated. The SEC didn't have a problem with Kim Kardashian, by the way, because of cryptocurrency. They had a problem with the review, because she did not disclose that she was paid, not to their specifications. There's still no regulation in cryptocurrency. And that means that it's super easy to do things like this, pump and dump scams. Anybody see Wolf of Wall Street? Penny stocks, right? Penny stocks. That's a thing. But you know what it's way easier to do with? Cryptocurrency. Because if I make a cryptocurrency coin, and maybe like Skycoin, I pre-mine it, so I've got 75% of the coins, and then I start my hype mobile. And I'm like, quick hype mobile, and I start driving to TikTok, or I start driving Instagram, or I start driving across whatever social platforms. Maybe I'm paying influencers, maybe I'm just building it organically, and people start buying it. Well, guess what? The price goes up, and then I dump all of my 75% of my coins onto the market, and guess what happens to the price? It does that. This is Squid Game, almost exactly a year ago. Squid Game was very popular, IP on Netflix, and you know, hey look, people don't need to be creative to create coins. There's a lot of meme coins that are very popular. Dogecoin, I mentioned earlier. Squid Game coin came on the scene, people were like, man, you can buy it for like a nickel, and it's gonna go to the moon. And then the hype started because I guess people liked the show. They had nothing to do with each other except for the name, but hey, people bought it and they're like, man, if it goes from a nickel to $1, I make 20 times my money. Well, guess what? I'm not gonna put a nickel in. I'm not even gonna put $1 in. I'm probably gonna put $1,000 in because then I can make $20,000. Wait, I should put $20,000 in? I like the cut of your jib because then that'll be 100,000 air or whatever that word is. Squid Game, pumped it, but here's the problem. Cryptocurrency works in a lot of times through smart contracts and coding. I was in one of their earlier panels talked about the law and the Internet of Things, the law and like connected devices, and how you need to know if you're going to sign a EULA, an end user license agreement, what you're signing up for. But really, the only people that can audit those contracts are specialists and lawyers. Same thing in cryptocurrency. So yes, smart contracts exist, but just like dumb contracts, the people programming the contract are saying what goes. And so in this case, Squid Game, the price jacks up to 90 cents. Nobody could sell any. They couldn't sell it because the people that minted the coin in their contract controlled it. So they sold all of theirs once all these suckers bought in at 90 cents, and then the price went, oh, boom, 0.016 cents. So if you had invested, 5 cents per coin, your $20,000 is now worth about 1,000. Womp, womp. Pump and dump exists in cryptocurrency, and we see it a lot. In fact, a very close friend of mine tried to get me involved in Jade Protocol. Jade Protocol was a coin that was going to do amazing things last summer. And it was down. It was just like right now in the cryptocurrency market where things are cheap, right? Cryptocurrency should be way more, is what the experts will say. It's going to go back up. It's just, this is a bear market, so now's the time to get on the ground floor. He said, Jade Protocol, John, Jade Protocol. And I was like, well, I don't really know anything about cryptocurrency. I mean, I've seen some scans, but he's like, no, this is real. I've read their white paper. White paper is proof of concept. They're real. White papers are a thing. And listen, here's the thing. If you don't know math gibberish, then those white papers are not really even worth the paper they're digitally printed on. Yeah. So if you can talk a good game about consensus marketing metrics and about the way that the distributed network is going to process, and there's going to be an algorithm that if that's above your pay grade, guess what? A white paper means exactly zero to you. And I said, but Ed, I don't know anything about this. And he's like, listen, all you need to know is it was worth $500 last month. It's at $250 now, and it's working its way back up. You should buy it. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. I mean, I didn't tell him that. I was like, okay, I'll think about it. But no, I went to my wife, and I was like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't think this is safe. And as it turns out in this situation, I was right. Because within days, well, not actually days in this case, it was more like weeks, Jade Protocol got locked up. The people that own Jade Protocol sold all theirs, and the price went from, I think it got to as much as $330. It's at $180 right now, $180. It's a bummer if you bought it at, $330. But they're not always sophisticated. We had a student at Goldie Beacom that fell for this, right? And he said, look, I saw this Bitcoin doubler, and listen, not for nothing, this would be like me being like, hey, here we are at Clayton Hall. Hi, we're strangers. Why don't you give me $20 right now? I'll meet you here tomorrow, right? Same auditorium, and I'll give you $40. Seems good, right? Who wouldn't do that? But he fell for it. And I said, not for nothing, right? Why did you fall for that? And the story he told me reminded me of this. Anybody remember this last year? Anyone remember when hacked accounts on Twitter? It was Elon Musk, it was Bill Gates, it was certainly our buddy Joe. And Joe was like, hey man, I'll give you $2,000 in Bitcoin for $1,000 because I am giving back to the community. That sounds just like Joe Biden to me. I was like, we should send him some Bitcoin. But it reminded me of that because the story he told me started with this. One of his peers had clicked on a link on Instagram where they had inadvertently given their credentials to scammers. Now, I do a lot of outreach in schools. I do a lot of outreach at UD, Goldie Beacom, high schools in the state, and one of the questions I ask them that I'll put to you is, okay, you're a scammer. Why do you want somebody's Instagram credentials? Why do you want that? Anybody?
Social engineering.
Social engineering is 100% right. And what they did, in the case of the Goldie Beacom student, is one of his peers had their Instagram hacked, and on that peer's Instagram page was, I just doubled my money on this Bitcoin doubler. I can't believe it worked, but I just made $600 by putting in $300. Here's the link. And the Goldie Beacom student was like, well, hell, if he did it, I'm going to do it too. Speaking of Instagram, segueing to the NFT world, anybody know what BAYC is? This is probably one of my most favorite of the NFT brands. It's the Bored Ape Yacht Club. And they produce pictures of monkeys, right? Digital pictures, of course, but you can own them for only $40,000 to $60,000 per picture. Now, they've got mutant apes at a discount, and they've got, I think, like apelings or something. It's But they're NFT collections that you can buy, and they're a real organization, and they were going to start their own metaverse, right? We're all familiar with the metaverse. This is a security conference, and pretty soon we'll all be living in the Matrix, if we're not already. Bored Ape Yacht Club Instagram is like, yo, party people in the house. We are giving away free land in our metaverse. And land is just the unit of currency. They got clever with the name. But the point is, an airdrop is real, right? An airdrop, think of airdrop as a Val pack that comes to your house. No, even better than that. It's a rewards program, right? If you go to Starbucks and your 10th cup is free, you're more likely to go back to Starbucks for 9 cups of coffee. Well, hey, in the online world, in the cryptocurrency world, that's real. So Bored Ape Yacht Club doing an airdrop is not that big a deal. Plenty of legitimate cryptocurrency coins will do airdrops to reward their faithful. Hey, you've got some of my monkey coins? I'm going to give you an airdrop. Hey, you're getting involved with the latest metaverse over at Decentraland? Here comes an airdrop. So they're not unknown. They're not completely like foreign, and they're a reward for people that are involved. So when people saw this on the official Instagram page of the Bored Ape Yacht Club, they said, yeah, I'm going to connect my MetaMask wallet, which is a digital wallet where they kept their NFTs. Until a little bit later, and this is April, the actual Bored Ape Yacht Club, they're like, oh no, here's the thing. Don't click on anything. We were hacked. We were hacked. And if you did click on that link, you went and you signed a smart contract that instead of giving you an airdrop, sent your NFTs to them. And Seth Green lost his monkey, right? He actually lost 2 monkeys, but specifically, remember earlier, NFTs are your property rights. He was gonna make a show with his monkey, but as soon as that monkey got stolen, it's not his monkey anymore. He can't put that monkey in his show. The scammer could sue him. Now, to be fair, the scammer's not gonna sue him. The scammer just immediately sold it to some other person on the internet, at a discount probably. But he had to buy his own monkey back for his show, and that's a shame. He lost his monkey. But the hack, right? It was an Instagram hack that looked real. He clicked to connect his wallet, and he didn't read the smart contract because he trusted the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Seth Green's not from Delaware, as far as I know. Yeah. But we do see it happen. There's a guy in Laurel, Robert. He got involved with Sierra Hash. Now, it wasn't NFTs in his case, but he got involved. He did a Google search. He was looking to be an investor. He went online and he found investment firms that could do digital investments. And it was the #1 listing on Google, actually, Sierra Hash. Found them, communicated with them, they emailed back and forth, they had a phone call, and he invested. And then when he couldn't get his money back, he called BBB and said, wait, what's going on? I invested in this cryptocurrency firm. They were the real deal. They were their first listing on Google. I thought they were real. And we looked them up, and of course, the second and third listing on Google were Sierra Hash is a scam. I love to talk with people about what they think they're seeing versus what they're actually seeing, and I'm a big proponent of talking about what that little green lock on a website means. And at a security conference, I'm going to hope that most of us know that that means that traffic is encrypted. But all encrypted means is that I, the scammer who runs the website, and you, the poor schleb who falls for my scam, nobody can see the traffic going back and forth. It's encrypted. And that's fine for me. I'm a scammer. I don't want anybody looking at our transactions. Law enforcement, nosy. People trust that, though, and people don't have even that low common denominator. They think that green lock means it's safe. Well, it means it's encrypted, but they think it means it's safe. So people don't know, and scammers are capitalizing on that. And when cryptocurrency is a thing people are interested in, they already don't know that much about it. Did I start my alarm? Because I feel like I've been talking more than, oh boy, I'm. 1 second. I get chatty up here sometimes, and so it's important to me to respect your time that I try to keep myself on schedule here. So, typo squatting, this is another tried and true trick from the scammers of the internet, right? So, I can't really jump it. Other side underscore meta, other side meta, other side underscore meta. I love that they're as inventive as they are, but I hate that they're as successful as they are, because they can basically forge whatever they need to forge to trick you into thinking it's real. So again, hey, you think that you're actually talking to them, and I want to talk about this right here. This is a son of a bitch thing that these guys will do. They know you're going to be a victim, right? They know you're going to be a victim, or that you're going to try to mint coins. I'm not going to go into the gas fees on a lot of the networks, but it's basically a service charge you pay to try to process a crypto transaction. Ironically, despite the fact that people hope that they would be like minimal, a lot of them are actually way more than you'd pay through a typical credit card. But the point is, you do pay them. And the scammers know you pay them, and so the scammers get magnanimous, and they're like, oh man, we'll give you your gas fees back. Click on this link. But no, you actually click on the link, and then you give them your wallet information, and then they empty your wallet, because you didn't read the smart contract. Because you can't, because you're not Mr. Math. This is as of a month ago, I guess. The FBI is like, hey guys, just so you know, apparently decentralized finance, a lot of those companies running them aren't that secure. That won't be a surprise to anybody in this room, but when you talk about the organizations that are responsible for handling the money, they're not banks. They're just companies. And that's okay if they're companies that do their due diligence and they're in compliance and they've really got, the best interest of their customers at heart. But if they're not, and they're not that protected, what will happen is the scammers will take advantage of that and they will steal your money. And one of the ways they do it is just hacking into the sites directly. But the other one is bridging. And bridging is basically saying, hey, Bitcoin is on one blockchain. That's over here. Ethereum is on this blockchain over here. Never the two shall meet, right? Blockchain technology is a ledger that is not like going to get intertwined with the other ledgers. That's one of the things that's great about it. But that means that if I want to make my Bitcoin into Ethereum, I've got to send it over a bridge. And those companies that operate those bridges, that is a incredibly dangerous place, and a lot of scammers are taking advantage of it because it's not as secure as either blockchain. That's where you hear about wrapped Bitcoin, wrapped Ethereum. That is a Bitcoin that has made the jump from one blockchain to the other. The way they do it is fascinating and interesting, but since it's not central to scams, I'm going to skip over that, and you can do your own reading on it. Pig butchering, yes, this happened recently. So pig butchering basically is a scam that has a name in handbooks, in scam handbooks. I don't know what you guys thought he was going to say. It's called pig butchering because what happens, I'll give you the example first, and you'll see what happens. There was a doctor at a very large local hospital, and she got into an online relationship with somebody, all right? And they started getting texts. They got on WhatsApp. They were chatting. 39-year-old, maybe she was just busy, I don't know. Met a person, got involved. Period of time passes, and the person says, hey, I've told you before, I do financial investments. Of course, I live overseas, but I do financial investments. This cryptocurrency is about to spike. You should put $100 into it because it's about to make a big jump. And I love you, by the way, because we're in an online relationship. So the doctor did it. She's like, all right, I'll put $100 in. $100 goes in. Within 2 days, her balance is $130. She cashes it out. She receives $130, cash money. Her boyfriend at that point is like, that's so great. I'm so glad you made some money. That's great. Hey, a week later, I got another tip. I see another cryptocurrency that's going to go crazy. I love you, so I can tell you, but I'm putting everything in it. I'm investing, $250,000 because it can't lose. I was right last time. I'm right this time. Well, the doctor didn't put $250,000 in. She put $50,000 in. Pig butchering. They are fattening the pig. They will let you get your money back out to lull you into a false sense of security. Also, and again, I said earlier, these scams don't exist in a bubble. This is a romance scam. But the payment through cryptocurrency is very, very popular for them. And the idea of investing in cryptocurrency, which again, as I said, we should never say, but people do. The idea of investing in cryptocurrency is one that I think a lot of people need to really be careful with, because nothing ever can guarantee a return when you're talking about what is effectively currency speculation. Here's my little clicker. So we've gone through a lot of these guys. ICO stands for an initial coin offering, and this is again going to be preceded by hype. You're going to see celebrity endorsements. You're going to see it all over Reddit and Twitter. You're going to see it on Insta or TikTok. You're going to see it wherever it is that they're trying to publicize it. And then once the coin is offered, a la Jade Protocol or Squid Game, it quickly goes up and then it goes down. An initial coin offering is always dangerous because while there may be a white paper, that may not be worth much. And anytime that you can't find the names of the people responsible for a cryptocurrency coin, that's another big giant red flag. All right, put your name on it if you're going to be involved with it. What else? Pump and dump. We talked about that. That's Wolf of Wall Street. Rug pulls is just a fancy way for when whenever the scam goes down and you thought it was real and the rug gets pulled out from under you. But it's a popular term, and it's worth Googling if you're looking at a cryptocurrency coin, especially a new one, the name of the coin plus rug pull, right? See what other people are saying about it. Because I promise if you just Google the name of the cryptocurrency coin, what you're going to find is 500 experts that are going to get you salivating and so excited about how it's going to go to the moon. Oh my God, it's math. Math says it's going to the moon. The resistance levels that if it makes it, it will pass it, and if it doesn't, it might go down, but then it probably will go up. It's a lot of hype, and it's dangerous, and everybody's susceptible because it's the way our brains are programmed. Airdrops talked about, retargeting. Yeah, we get your coins back. This actually happens quite a bit too. We talked to a woman down in Middletown. She had been the victim of an employment scam. Now this pisses me off. So she was out of work. She was a single mother of 2, and she was looking for a job. And she found one on Indeed. And on Indeed, there was this job posting for a virtual work from home job company doing work for a company that does cryptocurrency. She was going to be doing customer service for the company. BitGo Mining, LLC. So she applied, right? She found the job on Indeed. She communicated with them. They said, yeah, let's absolutely have an interview. They did not 1, 2 rounds of Google Hangouts interviews. They made her work for this job. And they asked all the right interview questions. So where do you see yourself in 5 years? Tell me, what do you bring to the company from a management standpoint? Tell me about a problem you had with a direct report, and how did you handle it professionally? They really, full court press, made her earn this job, and then guess what? She got the job. Yes, she got the job. And the very first thing they said is, listen, you don't know that much about cryptocurrency. We know that, and that's okay. But if you're going to do customer service, we want you to learn about cryptocurrency. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to send you $5,000 to your bank account. How do we have your bank account? Well, you put it on your application for direct deposit, right next to your social security number, and a picture of your photo ID, and your name and address, and your email address. We're your employer. 2 rounds of interviews. You trust me. But I need you to get going because chop, right? You're a new hire. And I need you to get up to speed on this cryptocurrency stuff. So $5,000 coming to your account. I want you to withdraw it. I want you to go to Seaford, and I want you to put it into a Bitcoin ATM. It's down there in a vape shop. And she's like, well, I'm in Middletown. And they're like, come on, you got to go. We really need you to get up to speed on this one. We just want you to see how easy it is. How are you supposed to be able to explain to people? Maybe you aren't a good fit for this job after all. No, I'll do it. I'll drive to Seaford or Laurel? Seaford? I can't remember now. It was way down there in Delaware. No, it was definitely the other side of the state. It was Lewis. I remember the vape shop right now. Anyway, Rehoboth, Lewis area, it doesn't matter. That's not important to the story. What's important is she drives down to the ATM. She goes to her bank. She withdraws $5,000 cash, right? So she's already like nervous, being like, wow, look, my pocket full of money. Goes to the ATM, puts in the address that they told her, puts the money into the ATM. Problem, the ATM has a daily cap of $2,500. So she calls her boss, and she's like, boss, I can't put any more money in. It says $2,500. And they're like, well, you better drive to this next ATM in Baltimore then to put the rest of the money in, because that's our money. Are you stealing our money? We thought you had the right stuff for BitGo Mining LLC. I'm going to call the police on you. She said, no, look, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not driving to Baltimore. Can I just do it tomorrow? And they're like, you better, or we're calling the cops, because that's our money. But did you see how easy it was putting in the ATM? Super easy. So she goes back to her bank, and she's like, I'm a little bit concerned. Mr. Banker, what do you think? And the bank says, we think we're going to freeze your account because this is definitely fraud. So she puts the $2,500 back in the account. Her bank does her the pleasure of freezing her account because they think she's complicit. And they want to make sure that she's not. They want to find out where that $5,000 come from that got put into your account. So she files. So the next day she gets a call from her boss. Her boss is like, where's our money? They froze my account. You are going to go to jail. That you're lying to us. Tell your bank you need that money because it's your boss's money and you need to withdraw it. She couldn't. Bank froze it. Well, bank tells her you're probably a victim of a scam. She calls BBB. This is where I enter the picture. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you except there's a good chance you're not getting your $2,500 back. And she's like, well, no, that's not it because it was their money. They put it in the account. Well, no, because what M&T Bank did is they sent the $5,000 back to the original victim. And so that meant that you remember the $5,000 that you had, that was all the money you had in the world because you're a single mother and you're out of work and you were looking for a job and you're supporting your kids on credit cards right now and out of that bank account because that's all the money you have in the world? Yeah, well, you just sent $2,500 of it through a Bitcoin ATM to scammers. and the bank's going to close your account, and they're going to cut you a check for the other $2,500, and that's what's going to happen. And it's rotten. It's rotten. I cannot stress enough how awful it is to talk to somebody that's been a victim of any kind of scam. But she was looking for a job, right? That meant for the 2 weeks that she was looking for a job, for the week that she thought she was working the job, she wasn't looking for a job anymore, right? She thought she had a job. She was living off credit cards, borrowing money from friends and family. And then, back to my story. What do the pain in the butt scammers do next? They contact her 2 days later and they say, hey, this is the FBI, and I think we can catch those guys. You were just recently the victim of a cryptocurrency scam, right? $2,500? You put it into an ATM down in Rehoboth Beach? Yeah, we have all those details because we're the FBI. We think we can catch these guys. What I need you to do is put another $1,000 into that Bitcoin ATM. But we're going to be watching this time. Ooh, we're going to get them. So she called me. And she's like, we're going to get them. And I was like, no, you're not. You're really not. You're really, really not. But people want to believe that law enforcement can help them. They want to believe that these guys will get caught. They want to believe that they will get their money back, but you don't. But you don't. But the scammers have all the details to make it sound like they are law enforcement, and they will absolutely retarget you. In fact, we see data at the BBB that says that people are actually more likely to be a victim of a scam after they've been victimized than somebody who's never been targeted. And it's because once the scammers got you on their sucker list, they got you. They got you, and they're going to keep going after it. Fake crypto services happen sometimes. We had a guy that wanted to, he had Bitcoin, and he wanted to move it to a different exchange. He did a Google search. He found it, moved his money over to it. Again, first link on Google, because scammers are good at SEO. Went ahead and invested his money with his trader, and then a week later couldn't get his money out. It's a pretty common story with this investment world, but the bottom line is you've got to really seriously kick the tires of any business you're going to work with, but especially one you're going to do cryptocurrency business with. NFT price manipulation is fun. The blockchain will tell you where NFTs go, right? You can see that digital ownership go back and forth and back and forth. Okay, good. And back and forth. But that doesn't mean that you can see whose wallets they are. And so what a lot of scammers will do is they'll be like, ooh, I want my artwork to be really valuable. So I'm going to make my picture of my dog or whatever their art that they're making. And then they're going to sell it to their other wallet address for $100. And then they're going to sell it to their third wallet address for $500. And then they're going to make another address and they're going to sell it to that guy for $1,000. And now people are like, oh man, this thing is on the way up. In a week, it's gone from 100 to 500 to 1,000. Oh, buddy, next week it's going to be worth 20,000. I better buy that picture of that guy's dog. Can hang it in my digital living room on my metaverse house. Anyway, price manipulation happens because while there is a blockchain ledger and you can see transactions, they're still anonymous to rank and file person. Phishing we talked about, romance, get rich quick stuff. All right, let's bring it on home and wrap it up here. The problems with fraud and scam in general is not just the lost money, right? But cryptocurrency scams are how they are loving to get paid lately. It is their new favorite wire transfer. I mean, don't get me wrong, they'll take gift cards if they can get gift cards. Except please tell your parents, it looks like in this room, please tell your parents, no one ever, anywhere, ever, in any capacity, ever, in any organization, ever, will require payment by gift card. Please tell them that. Thank you. This has been a public service announcement for your Better Business Bureau. But it's still happening, right? It's still happening. And the problem is the lost time. It's the psychological damage. It's people in deep depression. You know, I mean, I talk to victims and it breaks my heart. These people have lost not just the money, but they've lost their confidence. They feel stupid. And that's why people don't report. That's why it's 5% are the reports that we get. And I always encourage people, please, pass this stuff on. Ooh, I forgot about those slides. Pass this stuff on, because in 2 slides, I'll show you why. But first, First, I want to talk about online reviews, because we talked about hype earlier. FTC did some research, and they said, hey, let's pull 250,000 reviews from a bunch of businesses across the internet, and let's look at the star distribution of those businesses. 250,000 businesses, you'd expect some good, some bad, some in the middle, but not if you're on HomeAdvisor. You got 4+ stars, all of you, you're great. Facebook, not much worse. Google, that's still overwhelmingly positive, I think. Yelp's the only company actually that does like an even distribution. Even BBB can't do an even distribution. We either think you're real or we think you stink. That's basically how we rate businesses. But the point is, if you use Facebook to research a company, it can look really real and it can look really good. But we pulled this, well not we, I apologize. The FTC, I was just so excited to be part of it. The FTC pulled the same information for those businesses and they compared it to number of complaints, right? And don't worry, if you're on HomeAdvisor or whatever the other color is, I'm colorblind, you'll still get 4 stars despite having 25 plus complaints. And those are federal complaints. These are like complaints to law enforcement, complaints to the Attorney General, but don't worry, you're in good shape. You're in good shape. So you gotta be careful. You've gotta really think about the bias of organizations when you do your online research. When I say kick the tires, you gotta kick the tires, but you gotta know how to kick the tires too. And that means understanding the bias. And unfortunately, in the review world, most of them are advertising companies, right? Not to get too much of my BBB soapbox, but we are the only nonprofit in the game. And we're not perfect, but do more research than any one of these, right? Like, be thorough, be thorough. Now, why is it important? Because people learn about this stuff by word of mouth. People learn about fraud and scam. The news, right, the news. But the news is not gonna cover local college student loses $1,500 to a cryptocurrency scam. They're gonna cover local grandmother loses $50,000 nest egg to an IRS scam. Right, that's just not sexy enough to be like, oh, local college student loses $500, News 11. It's not turning in for that, stupid college kids. But the point is, it's not stupid college kids, it's all of us, but it's not happening at a level that the news is covering it enough, which is why word of mouth. Word of mouth, according to our research, people think they hear about it through websites, they think they hear about it through TV or radio PSAs, but not really. Honestly, according to the colors that I can't see, 41% of people actually learn about scams, which is the second highest way after the news. And again, the scams on the news are good, but they're always gonna be the big ticket scams that are gonna get most people to click on it or read it, or tune in at 11 if that's a thing people still do. I got a minute just to be like, hey, who are we? Why do we do this? Where do we get our information? We get it from self-reporting. BBB is a independent third party. We're a nonprofit. We were created by businesses to basically keep people from getting ripped off. And so we house a database locally by every BBB. So I work for the Delaware BBB. I'm responsible for every Delaware business, the good, the bad, the ugly, the scammers. We get reports on all of them and we try to share the information we receive. But please report, because while no, we won't get your money back, and no, we will certainly not send the scammers to jail, and no, we won't even really, I don't know, there's not much we can do after the fact, but what we can do is not for you, it's for the next audience I talk to, right? The examples that I get come from real people in Delaware that are really losing money to a variety of scams. So if you get targeted by a scam, especially if it's a very clever scam, or if you get a screenshot of something on TikTok or Reddit and you're like, that's totally a scam, but it's a good one, a clever one, please send it. Send it and share it because it helps other people. This is how we learn and this is how we're able to make this stuff teachable. Was this helpful for you today? Yes. Oh, thank you very much. You've been a great audience. Try the veal, tip your waitresses. Oh, and questions, we got like 5 minutes for questions. Any questions? No, John, you did such a great job. We understand it perfectly. Oh, well, okay, put that on your profile forms. Okay, well, I'll stick around. Oh, yes, question, sir. Yeah, okay, so basically it was an attempt to recover the coin, right? Bitcoin was gonna burn, or Binance was gonna burn a whole lot of them to try to, if there's less of it on the market, the value of it comes back up. That was basically the gist of it, was people didn't want to give up on it. Even Jade Protocol is still around, right? Jade Protocol is still around. People don't want to give up. It's the sunk cost fallacy. Once you've invested that much money into something, you don't ever want to believe that you have made a mistake. And it's the same thing we see in romance scams, actually. People believe they're going to get married even after they've been ripped off 2, 3, 4 times because they can't face the reality that no. But that's what it was. They're trying to build scarcity so that the coin would recover. Whether that works or not is beyond way above my pay grade. Yes, sir. Absolutely. You could come right to me. You tell me, I'll make sure it gets to the appropriate people. You just tell me, yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Celsius ever going to come back and give anybody their money back?
Well, you know, I do love to talk about investing in cryptocurrencies. So here, let me wait. No, I have no idea. And nobody else does either. That's the problem. But HODL, right? HODL, hold on for dear life, because maybe one day, right? We don't know. But specific cryptocurrencies may yet have their heyday because, again, I don't have a crystal ball. And right now is a bear market. So, hey, look, I'm holding some coins. We'll see what happens with them. But don't invest. Don't put in what you cannot afford to lose. Other questions? I saw a hand. Yes, sir.
This is not financial advice.
I love it. Oh, no, you were just clarifying. No, I'm definitely not giving financial advice. Yeah, neither legal nor financial. I just like to share the benefit of what I've seen. And hey, listen, to be clear, you know, there's still a lot of imposter syndrome when you talk about something like cryptocurrency because there's so much to know. And that's why I try to cover it at a basic level, try to make sure people understand from a fundamental, you know, like lowest common denominator, some of the most common scams that come across my desk. But there's a lot more to learn, and so I encourage you guys all to learn about it because a lot of people have had a lot of success with cryptocurrency. And I'm not knocking it, I just want to make sure people are safe about it. All right, well, thank you guys very much. Have a great rest of the conference.
Don't forget your surveys.
Guys, don't forget your surveys.
Thank you so much, John. Yeah.
One more certificate, John.
Thank you very much, sir.